There's no camera. We're just doing it. And if we
I
fuck up,
know,
we do it again.
we're just doing it.
Yeah.
Ah,
Enheduanna.
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 That's fair. Enheduanna.
Enheduanna.
Okay, we'll
Enheduanna.
work on it. We'll work on it.
Enheduanna. That
Hi.
close?
Close. You're getting there. Hi. I'm Allegra. I'm part of Mayday Roleplay, as you would expect, since this is our channel. I'm a huge history nerd. So this is going to be a huge history nerd show, and it's also going to be a D&D nerd show, because why not just mix those two together? This is Heroes You Should Know. I don't know how I convinced the others to let me do this, but I did. So the entire kind of conceit of what's going to be happening here is there's a ton of historical folks we don't hear about because they're not dudes, they're not straight, they're not white, they're not a combination of those. And that sucks because they've kind of shaped the way the world exists. And so I thought we should know about them. And then I thought it'd be cool if I turned them into D&D characters. So now I'm doing both. Sometimes it'll be just me. This week, though, I have my resident drama twin, Caleb, here with me. Thank God.
I cannot
And
I cannot be more happy that I'm here.
me fucking too, bro. I don't know. This is gonna be fun. I'm really excited about this. I like talking about history things, and I also like talking about D&D things, so it's gonna be perfect. Let's see. So I'll kind of go through the research of the person that I've chosen for this week, and then Caleb's gonna give his build for them. I'm gonna give my build. We don't know each other's builds yet, so it's gonna be really fun to kind of find out what you thought from the research and what I thought from the research.
Yeah,
I think they might be similar. We tend to make things similarly, so I'm interested to see what happens.
Well, the interesting thing is that you told me you weren't multiclassing at all, and I think I multiclass like 6,000 different ways. So I think that'll be the main difference.
Yeah. I thought about multiclassing, and I was like, no, I want to just see if I can just pull it straight and see what happens. The only thing I'll try to pull straight ever in my life. Sorry, that's a bad joke. Anyway. For the purposes of this, everyone's going to be human because they were, and fuck dealing with all the racial traits bullshit.
I'm just saying they existed maybe 4,000 years ago. Who are we to say they're not Luxodons? I'm just saying. Big elephant people out there, I think we're missing a market here.
Well, next time we do a 4,000-year-old person, we'll do a Luxodon.
Perfect.
Build.
Thank you.
That's what we'll do.
I feel validated.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's pretty much the rundown. So here we go. I am doing this week the first published author, Enheduanna. Caleb, do you want to try and take a crack at her name?
Enheduanna. I think I have it now.
Yeah, buddy, that was so good.
Thank you. I didn't realize it was like 3 syllables. So earlier it was like Enheduanna. Like I was skipping straight through into it.
Oh, you so got it. That's a picture of her. I guess over here, down here. There were other pictures of her that I liked more, but they had titties in them, and it's Twitch, so no titties. Even if they're 4,000-year-old titties, no titties. Yeah. So Enheduanna was the first published author. Kind of the one that just kind of put her name on her writing first, essentially. So she was born in 2285 BCE in Mesopotamia, and she was the daughter of King Sargon the Great. So he was a Sumerian king in Mesopotamia at that time. She would have been born with a name that wasn't Enheduanna, but when she became her dad made her high priestess. That's kind of an important detail here. Her dad made her high priestess of the main temple to Inanna in their capital city, which is kind of close to the city of Nasiriyah in modern day Iraq. So she would have had like a birth name, but that kind of got lost when she became the high priestess and took on the name Enheduanna, which literally means like ornament of heaven. So she knew what she was about.
Yeah.
And so during this time, the Akkadians, who were another like group of like another civilization within Mesopotamia, had been absorbed by the Sumerians, which was King Sargon and Enheduanna. And so that was like there was a bunch of like strife kind of going on at the time. And in sorry, and Enheduanna was a priestess to the goddess Inanna, who, if you know the Epic of Gilgamesh, it's the same thing as Ishtar, but just like Inanna's the Sumerian version of Ishtar, and Ishtar's Akkadian. And actually, fun fact, as if you like track down Inanna Ishtar, if you track it down far enough, she actually turns into Aphrodite.
Oh, that's
in
crazy.
Greek mythology.
That's nuts. So these are all like the same people.
It like the it kind of like funnels down into it. It's not like necessarily the direct same, but like from Inanna comes, or from Inanna and Ishtar comes, like there's a couple more steps, and then it eventually dumps out into Aphrodite, essentially.
Well, I think it's hilarious that like the further you go down, the more that they've sort of bastardized some of the things that Inanna is about. I mean, there's so many cool names in this list, like, you know, war and combat and justice and political power and all this strength. And then you get to Aphrodite and it's all just about being
beauty
with
and love.
people and fucking and loving. And like, we lose a lot of that. That's crazy.
And that was kind of like a huge thing for Inanna too, and Enheduanna being like a priestess of her, because like Caleb was saying, she was the goddess of love, beauty, sex, desire, and fertility, but also war, combat, justice, and political power. Like, that's
crazy.
So fucking cool.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of power that comes from having like their main goddess be like, you know, a goddess of love, but also like of war and like combat. And so like by kind of bringing her to the forefront and making her like a pretty big part of their culture and their worship as a whole, like at the very forefront, they kind of helped quell rebellion, basically, because like this is who's like looking over the city, and this is who's like got the biggest grasp on So why the hell would you try to rebel if this is the goddess that's like watching out for you? But she's also all about love, so it's this cool like dichotomy. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So essentially what Enheduanna did, I said it right. Enheduanna did. I was
see, myself. I fucked you up now. Now you're gonna say it a million times.
You did. So she wrote a bunch of poems and like declarations to Inanna. Where's my list of her writing? Where did you go? There it is. So, Descent of Inanna, the Exaltation of Inanna, Inanna Segura, which is the Great-Hearted Mistress, Ninmasara, the Exaltation of Inanna. Like there's a couple different names to some of them, and then Ini Mehesua, the goddess of fearsome power. So she wrote all of these that are just all about Inanna and like pretty much just being like, hey, this is who's watching over us and this is who's got the most power here. But also she wrote like a bunch of poems. I think it was like 42, somewhere around 42, about just like personal frustration and religious piety and hope and the effects of war and like just everyday life of people in at this time. So she's also this hugely important historical kind of landmark as like keeping track of what the hell was going on there at the time.
Yeah. One thing I loved about like going into her poems, the first one I read through is, well, the first half is all about her love for her goddess, of course, and it's going into the almighty power and everything about that. But halfway through, she talks about this experience of doubt when her government was taken over, when her father was essentially moved into like we were talking about, the Akkadians were taken over and absorbed, and about how she had this moment where she felt like she was carrying a burden for her god, and then found that burden made her stronger. And so I thought it was really cool that she's sitting here, and as old as this is, she's sitting there and she's talking about religious doubt and trying to find religion through the struggle of loss and war and this huge change in power.
Yeah, I mean, she kind of touches on every aspect of it in all of her writing, and I think that's really cool that like you said, like the doubt is there, and that's not something you see a whole lot in other other writings of people like especially religious people, especially high priestesses of whatever religion. I think that's fucking dope.
Yeah, because she spends like the first half of that poem going, she's the greatest fucking thing in the world. She creates the wind. She is the power. She's the mad bull. And then immediately she goes, but maybe I had like half a moment where it was like, fuck, dude, this sucks. Which is incredible. Like how you can have both of those things and be so honest.
And another thing she talks about in one of the other poems is the like she kind of like praises Inanna for her ability to like be desirable and like arouse people and all this stuff, and then like talks about her ability to turn a man into a woman and a woman into a man, which is essentially talking about how all of the followers of Inanna were pretty androgynous and kind of like cross the line of like, gender's fucked, right? Let's not care about it, because they had people of like all sexes up in the temple, so they're like, fuck it, we don't need gender, and they dressed pretty much the same, people like everyone did, and I just think it's so cool. I really think she's cool. I think she's neat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
I get a little like emotional about it.
Like expecting of gods of sexuality and gender or fertility, all these things that are related to the person. I mean, I'd be upset if it wasn't sort of an ambiguous nature of it, because that's what we are as people. We are never one of one thing. We are like a different smattering of everything that's there. And that's one thing I love too, is how not ambiguous but universal her message was. Not only on religion, but on sex, on gender, on relation. You know, everything came to it with this idea of universality. We're all a part of the same people.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good lead into what I was going to talk about next. So thanks, buddy. So because Sargon had taken over the Akkadians and the Sumerians were like absorbing the Akkadians essentially, there was a lot, like I said, like a lot of unrest, but she found a way within her writing to, first of all, bring the gods to like a very accessible point for like the lay people of the world, and like that wasn't something that had happened before, because before it was like, you're high priestess, you hang out up here, and like she's the one that deals with the gods, and like that's it. But because she was trying to like pull in the Akkadians and pull in the Sumerians and pull in everyone to like be one kind of unified empire, I guess.
Yeah.
She brought it to such an accessible level for everyone. And I think in installing her as the high priestess, it's pretty much the smartest thing that Sargon did. I don't know a whole lot about Sargon. I probably should have done more research about her dad, but I didn't, because I don't care about him really, because we know about Sargon.
Well, yeah.
In school
we're not
sometimes,
talking
except
about
for
him.
not me apparently right now. But she basically laid the spiritual groundwork for the first stable multilingual multi-religious culture, because she took the Akkadian gods and the Sumerian gods and was like, okay, well, here's how they cross over in Anna's Ishtar, and made all these connections to make it, accessible for everyone, and like kind of chilled out any tension that was there.
Yeah. And I saw in my research that it was common for someone in this place of power to make their first daughter into a priestess of Inanna and sort of give up this practice, which is even better.
It was actually her that started that. It was Sargon it was because of Sargon that they started doing that for generations afterwards. So Enheduanna essentially was like the first one. And then
what I love about that is then even in that moment you have like you can't even attribute it to Sargon then. It was the huge, influence of this woman that started this trend, that created this thing that was going to stretch on. And you may have had a good idea putting her in there and trusting his daughter, but
for sure.
she's that beacon, which I think is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like that. I really do think that's how he kind of kept it together without it kind of falling apart, because she, like I said, like she brought Inanna so like into the forefront. Of course, there was a coup attempt by a dude named Lugal-An, I think is how you say his name. I'm probably saying it wrong. It's 4,000 years old. Who knows?
Yeah, there's no fucking way we're going to get it right. There's just no conceivable way. I looked at it maybe 50 times, because it could be Lugal-Ain, Lugal-Ane, Lugalin, like...
Legalene, yeah.
Yeah,
Like there's so many ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, he successfully ousted her from the temple, and then when she wrote the exaltation of Inanna, that was essentially her being like, "Hey, fucking help, get this bitch out of here." And then he somehow got out. Like he was ousted and she was back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because it's 4,000 years old, we don't know how that happened, but that happened.
Yeah.
And so like, and that was another thing, because she attributed it to Inanna and being like, "Hey, I asked for this and she fucking came through."
Yeah.
So
well, and I
don't
love
mess
that
with her,
because she comes back with these poems right after the fact saying, "Hey, if you want any proof of God, there it is. I asked and she came."
Boom.
Also, fuck this dude. Diss track. Like,
yeah,
it's incredible.
It was, yeah. I think that's pretty cool too. Along with doing a lot of work, like legwork for history, she had a bunch of early scientific observations about astronomy as well. And so, because of Inanna also has connections with the moon, because why wouldn't she? So it was essentially like she's looking up to the heavens to commune with her, probably. And so, she would obviously notice some patterns and notice some changes. And there's actually a crater on Mercury named after her.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's neat too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So scribal practices were usually seen as like a male thing, but of course she said, screw that, and I'm going to do it anyway, and I don't care. And this actually helped grow literacy, especially among women within Mesopotamia, because they had, as I said, this like lady high priestess who was a total badass. And they were like, "Hey, I wanna learn that shit too." And so they did. And so like literacy during and after her actually like jumped, which is, I don't know how you would measure that in, the olden times, but apparently that's what happened. Of course, there are folks who are going to say that she was not an actual author, because her original writings were done in cuneiform, but the only thing that still exists are copies that were made around 1800 BCE. So, like, essentially they were copied over, is what it looks like, but they are still attributed to her. And there are people from that time, other people who were historians who like started doing things after her, that were like, "No, this is for sure Enheduanna. Like, this is like, she's the one that wrote this."
Yeah.
So I mean, there's questions about if it's her, but it's her.
If you're going to use that as basis, you have a situation like Shakespeare where they don't even have authors to prove that he wrote some of the things he has. And to this day, we still attribute almost everything he did to him. So it's weird to have that sort of naysaying when you have backed up writings like that.
Exactly. But, she was a powerful woman in history, so why the fuck would anyone want to actually give her due? Right. But that's what we're doing here. And yeah, that's about it. There's not really a whole lot of information about how or when she died, which I'm going to take as she died at a ripe old age, after doing good work and being a badass for years. She did die sometime in the 2250s BCE. But I also read somewhere that she was high priestess for more than 40 years, so that math doesn't really line up. So we're looking at somewhere between like 30 and 50.
Yeah. I mean, that's exceptionally old for 4,000 years ago. That's incredible.
Fuck yeah. So that's our girl Enheduanna. She's pretty badass. I super love her, and I think about her a lot.
Yeah, she's incredible. I knew nothing about her until this week when you sent me all the info, and now I feel dumb for not knowing her, which is always the best feeling in the world, because you walk away going, holy shit, this is the first writer in existence, or at least the first published writer in existence. And I've never heard of her. Like, I feel so much richer for having known that she was out there. And the D&D kid in me immediately went, oh, so much of this shit applies to a game. Like,
so much.
Yeah.
She was such a fun build, dude.
Yeah. She was a lot of fun to put together. And I knew where I wanted to go like before we had even sort of really done the research, and then the research affirmed it and changed it, and by the time I was done with everything, I was like, damn, okay, so it's definitely in there, but is it the whole thing? I had this whole crisis of faith of putting her together, because I didn't want to do misjustice to everything that came into who she was, because you can say a lot about, bastardizing someone's existence into a single subclass or whatever it might. It's easy to say, okay, College of Lore, done. She was a writer, that's a writing, we're going to do it right there. But it's another thing to take the experiences and everything that she was as a person and put those into what you might play at the table. And I tried to go that route instead of just going with my initial.
Yeah, lore's like the obvious jump.
Yeah.
But I want to. What did you? Okay. What class and subclass did you give her?
Okay.
We're starting at level. We're doing level 10 just to give us space, to give us feats and pump them up a little bit, give them like cool shit rather than be like, this is a level 1. So everyone's going to be level 10. So Caleb, hit me with that level 10.
All right. She is a level 10. She is a Cleric 4. That's her first. Bard 3. Paladin 3.
Oh, yeah. I was hoping you'd throw Paladin in there.
Yeah. So Paladin absolutely had to come into that. And I tried to use the level 10 progression from when she first takes her position as priestess to just about right after the coup attempt. And so that's where I sort of got a lot of this from. But yeah, that's what I went with. Cleric 4, Bard 3, Paladin 3.
That's amazing. What subclasses did she go into?
Okay, so Cleric, I was at a loss. There were a lot of things I could have done. I could have done devotion because she loves her God so fully. I could have gone with a few of them that fit. I mean, even the justice one to a certain extent felt like it could be palpable. But I went with one of the new Tasha beats, which is, a new iteration of an unearthed arcana I love to death. And I went with Peace Domain. The idea behind it was she is a unifier of people. She's someone whose writings brought all of these different gods together and said, this can be one thing. We can love one spirit and be together in that moment without losing the connection to such, right? So I went with Peace Domain as a cleric because that was her goal initially, was to bring the word of her God and to bring people together. For Bard, I went with I'm gonna forget the name of the damn subclass. Give me 1 second. College of Eloquence.
That's my full build. Is College of Eloquence.
There you go.
So, that makes sense. There we did it again.
College of Eloquence was actually the first thing I thought about her as soon as I heard her and you told me just the snippet of what we were going to do. And I was like, oh, total College of Eloquence.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to have that in there because above all, she was a speaker. She was a poet. She was someone who could bring people together with their words. And, there's so much about her that fits so well into what we expect of a statesman of the eloquent, Bard College. And then Paladin of 3, I went with Oath of Devotion, but this is all about her after the coup. This is about being strong and resolute in her faith and not allowing someone to think they could stop her from worshiping her God, from moving forward, which does fit into the cleric point of view, but you can't write a diss track about how your God basically just came into the flesh without sounding a little bit like a paladin.
Right.
So immediately I was like, oh, I got to get in there. It also works with, we'll get to the equipment, but the paladin in her comes out in the equipment a little bit too.
Fuck yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay. What about what stats did you give her?
Okay. So I went with standard array.
Yep. We're gonna do standard array across the board every time. That's what we're gonna start from, just to make things basic and easy for everyone instead of rolling.
I didn't go with feats because I didn't really find one that I felt really spoke to her enough. I saw someone that were borderline that I felt that maybe could apply, but I didn't want maybe. I wanted to immortalize her the best I could. So strength at an 11. Dex is her dump stat. Unfortunately, she's not going to be dexterous. She lives a sedentary lifestyle. She's
valid.
the king's daughter, right? So 9 in dexterity, 13 in constitution, because how can you survive a coup without having at least a little constitution?
Fuck yeah.
Intelligence of 18, because everything I see throughout the writing in her is someone who is knowledgeable, who has an understanding of exactly how she's feeling and how to replicate that, which I know ties into wisdom too, but I think the artistry, the creativity that comes out in front of it, the ability to, at a time like that, 4,000 years ago, to have this concept of, yes, you're stuck in our empire, but that doesn't mean you have to be stuck. You can be a part of us. It's too intelligent for her time. She had to have maximum intelligence. I gave her an 18.
Yes.
Wisdom at 15. Of course, it's going to be her second, because obviously she was wise beyond her years, even when she took the position to begin with.
Yeah.
And then a charisma 14, because she's as influential to her people as she is wise. And that's what I'm rocking for stats there.
Oh man, I love that. What are her like real good proficiencies? What are like her skill proficiencies?
Her skills, she's rocking because of the bard stats.
She's got a fuck ton of shit, doesn't she?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Her highest are for both history and religion. She has a plus 12.
Hell
yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then plus 6s for almost every charisma stat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think her lowest is acrobatics. Nothing is below a plus 1, so she's pretty nuts across the board. But yeah, religion and history, I thought, applied the most, because when I'm thinking writing, it all comes from history. It all comes from past knowledge. So I thought you got to.
You said you didn't do any feats. None of them really fit for her.
No feats. I didn't see anything I thought really came into play.
Yeah.
I thought that she was coming at it from more of a skilled point of view, more of an attribute point of view, because when you're looking at feats, you're looking at exactly a specific type of person, and none of them really spoke to me for that point.
That makes sense. What about spells? What are like your big spells for her?
Okay,
like good big spells for her.
Some of these are really just writer puns.
Yes, good. Love it.
Okay, so cantrips, she's obviously got message.
Obviously.
She's got mending. She brought people together.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she's going to bring your broken bowstring back together. Resistance, because fuck the coup. Guidance, vicious mockery, word of radiance, some basics.
Yes.
In the first level category, we're looking at stuff like ceremony, because head priestess got to be putting up some ceremonies.
Hey, me too, buddy.
Command, comprehend languages, heroism, because that's so her. Giving defense to the people. Illusory script, because that might as well be what she was doing with the tablets to begin with.
Yep.
Protection. Well, that's off her base stuff. Shield of faith, silent image. Oh, and sanctuary, because fuck it.
Yeah.
And then second level, I gave her zone of truth. She's definitely spitting it. Gift of gab, from the new spells off the bard list.
Yeah.
Calm emotions, and enthrall. That's what I'm working with.
Nice. Oh, those are so good. Oh, I love it. And equipment. What equipment you got for her?
Okay. So she doesn't have much. Of course, she's got a Dungeoneer's pack, because I don't care what historical figure. When you make a D&D character, you give them a Dungeoneer's bag. She has a spell guard shield. Ooh. I thought that might be nice. It gives disadvantage, it gives you advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects.
Yeah.
So if any god comes for her, she'll be ready. She has a mithril chain breastplate. Which goes over the robes and everything. I was trying to think, like, what's the closest you can get to 4,000-year-old Kevlar. I thought pretty mithril chestplate was good. And she has a rapier. But I'm going to go into the notes here and tell you what I've been thinking in terms of how the equipment is explained here. So first, mithril robes and breastplate. And, of course, we got Inanna's symbol emblazoned on the chest. Okay?
Naturally.
She wears a shield that is a full-on wall shield, like ankle to shoulder wall shield that she plants in the ground.
Fuck
And
yes.
it is a writing tablet with her own words engraved on the front, right?
Buddy, that's
Yes.
so good.
Right? And to go with that, she has a rapier that is really just a sharpened chisel to go with the shield itself. And so she's doing full sword and board with the tablet shield and the chisel sword.
Yes.
And then finally, because in all these poems, one thing I saw she references like 4 or 5 times is that Inanna wears a tiara in all visions of her, and gifts her priestess with a tiara. So her spell focus is an Inanna tiara and veil that claps over her face, and she uses that as her casting focus.
Amazing. That's so good, dude.
Thank you.
Hell yes. Oh man. Oh, I love it. I don't want to go now because yours is so much cooler than mine.
No, not at all. I'm
No,
so
it's so
excited to see what
good.
you did, because her going full bard like has to be interesting, because
Yeah, so I did do full bard. I did full College of Eloquence. Because just reading it, I was like, this is
it's
fucking
so her.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just it just fits.
Okay, so we've got full level 10 bard with
Full
College
bard.
of Eloquence.
Yeah.
What are we looking at attribute wise?
I actually made strength her dump.
Okay.
Because I had the same idea of you survive it, like you're surviving a coup, but also you're a princess. Like, she's not gonna be super strong, but she's like, I feel like she'd be a little more like weave in between Dexy, get out of the way faster.
And you didn't need the strength for your pally
right
build.
I didn't need it for anything else. Her dex is 11, so like pretty average. Okay. Constitution's 13, same reason, fuck a coup. She's gotta make it through. Her intelligence is 14, wisdom's 15, just because same reason, she's brilliant and like obviously wise beyond her years.
Oh, totally.
So she's got the brain power, and her charisma is a sweet 18.
Whew. There you go.
From ASI.
Yeah.
So she is popped the fuck up there.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Just because she's, like we have a lot of similar reasoning on why we do things. We just it's the same thing we do when we make characters, is we have the similar idea. We have like the same idea, but we go
yeah, it's always
like at the core same. At the core same. Surface level, nothing alike.
Yeah, it's the interpretation.
We did it with Tuck and Merritt. We did it like before. We did it with Rose and Ollie even.
Yeah, with Rose and Ollie for sure. Because we always have the same idea, but it's the way we want to go about making that idea happen that just completely goes the other way. You're so right. Yeah.
It's my favorite thing, because I can always count on like Caleb and I gonna be the same. Cool, we're gonna be the same, but very different. We even with Eli's, even with Eli's stuff for Ashoka.
Oh, totally. I mean, we have so much in common in that campaign.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as
I love you.
I love you too. I knew as soon as I picked College of Eloquence that you were too. I was like, fuck it. You know what? This is gonna be the one that we fall into together.
Yeah, I was like, Caleb's gonna do at least Cleric Bard.
Yeah.
And then I was like, he might dip into Paladin.
Yeah.
I had
to.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are her stats. Her charisma's pop the fuck up. I know I'm skipping a little bit, but I gave her Prodigy as a feat from Xanathar's.
God, that's killer.
So she gets an extra proficiency and she gets an extra expertise. So because she's level 10, she's already got 4 expertise from just being a bard.
Oh my
God. And then
God.
from Prodigy, she gets a 5th expertise. So her history, insight, and perception are all plus 10. And then her performance and persuasion are plus 12. Whew. And her religion is also plus 10. So she's just like, and it makes sense to me that she would be super insight heavy, super perception, performance, and persuasion heavy, because she's talking to the people, she's bringing the people together. And so it's this whole like that's her whole bread and butter is like, I'm a woman of and she's not technically a woman of the people because she's a fucking princess.
Yeah.
But she's bringing the people to her, or like bringing her. I guess it's closer to bringing herself to the people.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, here's where we're at. This is what we're doing.
Oh, that's so good.
So yeah, I gave her prodigy, and so she got that expertise. She got another proficiency.
I mean, the only
she also
way,
got
the only way that she could have more expertise is if she dipped in rogue, right?
I think so. I think if she dipped in rogue, that would have been like that would have knocked shit even higher. But like, there's no reason for her to.
No, there's none at all. I was just
absolutely none.
Yeah, the metagamer in me is like,
no
how do we get her
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Let's power game.
Yeah. How do we get her to max expertise?
But because of prodigy, she also gets another tool set that she's proficient in, another language, and another language. So I gave her calligrapher's tools, which is pretty much as close as you're gonna get to cuneiform.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Excuse me. And then, so because she's also an acolyte, so from being a human, she gets. Yeah, it makes sense. It's like the obvious choice.
Yeah.
From being a human, gets a common and then one other language, and then from being an acolyte, she gets 2 more. And then from being a prodigy, she gets another. So she's got 5 motherfucking languages.
Okay, what did you go with language-wise? Let's see how close we are on that one.
Okay. Common, obviously.
Yeah.
Celestial.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay.
Primordial.
Yeah, primordial. Me too. Okay, primordial too.
Sylvan.
Okay, yes.
And abyssal.
Oh, abyssal is where you lost me. I went with elvish and sylvan. Okay. I like the idea of her.
That tracks. Being like with the higher, like the higher ups or whatever.
Yeah.
That's hilarious that we went so far and got so close.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so with like College of Elegance, she gets a couple other super cool things. Like obviously she gets Counterstorm and Jack of all trades and Song of Rest and blah 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 and all that normal bard stuff. But then she gets Silver Tongue, which means that anytime she makes a charisma, like a charisma roll, like persuasion or deception, anything she rolls less than a 10 is just automatically
a 10. Yeah, it's
so
insane.
The lowest she could roll is literally a 22.
It's
the
incredible.
Lowest persuasion she could roll is a fucking
20. And that's at level 10. Like at level
that's
20.
At level 10.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean,
who the fuck knows?
And
that's without like any kind of cool, crazy like bard equipment. Yeah. I made her super base.
Oh man. I mean, just reading through Eloquence made me like immediately like I already wanted to play this, but going through and making a level 10 Eloquence and looking at what they get throughout, I want to play one so bad now.
This is literally the first bard I've ever made. I've never played a bard. I've never built a bard. Have you met me? I am not a charisma person. I'm not a charisma player.
Well, you know that I'm just aghast because I can't exist without playing a charisma character.
Yeah, I want to run a game, or I want to play a game where you have to dump charisma and I have to pump charisma.
Oh my god!
Oh no, I already did that though. I already did that with Ashoka because I had to pump charisma because I was a sorcerer.
Yeah, because you were trying to build up that multi.
Yeah.
You played a really cool multi-class in that one because I've never seen rogue paired with sorcerer like that. It was so interesting. I mean, once Eli was like, "Yeah, you can sneak attack with your spells."
Sneak attack with spells.
It's over. Like there's no game anymore.
I was like, Eli, when I was building it, I was like, "Hey, Eli, is this too OP?" And she's like, "Nah, fucking do it." I was like, yes.
Fucking Eli.
I love her so much.
Yeah. The energy that she brings to everything is fucking do it. Okay.
Yeah, incredible. She gave us so much during that game. I'm so excited for everyone to hear it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So she also has Unsettling Word from being Eloquence, which is on a bonus action, she can spend one of her bardic inspiration and pick a person within 60 feet and just like take away from their saving throw the next time they do it. Which makes because fuck a coup. And like I have the power of Inanna literally sits inside my soul, so fuck you.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, it's so good.
And then also Unfailing Inspiration, which I thought was a super cool idea for her of like Unfailing Inspiration is when someone spends an inspiration die, if it fails, if whatever they're using it on fails, they get to keep that inspiration.
Right. Oh, that's
So
incredible.
that also just fits kind of for her whole narrative
Yeah.
of like, hey, like shit's weird and shit's bad, and maybe I don't entirely believe this at all times, but I'm still gonna keep like pushing forward, and I'm still gonna keep going after this coup, and I'm still gonna keep like bringing the people together.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
pretty
It's
dope.
a second chance at that doubt. And,
Yes,
you found a way to make that into a gameplay standpoint, which I think is so fucking
ridiculous.
good. Yeah.
And then her last kind of cool thing that she gets is universal speech, which is kind of like tongue of sun and moon for monks, which is
Yeah.
she can make any number of people within 60 feet of her up to her charisma modifier. So that'd be like 4. So she can, like, 4 people within reach. She can just talk and they'll understand her.
Oh,
And
and
that's it.
you know what? Everyone talks a little down on College of Eloquence because it is so much based in social encounters and everything like that.
Yeah.
But you have never known pain. Right now, I'm playing in a game of it's Into the Abyss or Out of the Abyss, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Um, the one that's set entirely in the Underdark.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have
Yes.
7 players and none of us speak Undercommon. And we've been down there for a year.
For a year?
For a year, none of us have learned the
Caleb!
fucking language. So
Jesus.
if you're ever doubting how useful, Enheduanna is right here, she is so useful
Hey.
because 9 times out of 10, I'm just hoping to God I can speak to someone. And the fact that you can just make that happen. Oh,
Yeah, I mean
beautiful.
and also still tracks for her bringing 2 sides of a war together. Like,
Exactly. Uniting
it's
people.
eloquence. Like, I was looking at lore, and then I was like, I need to look at eloquence again, just because I read it when it was Unearthed Arcana, and then I just kind of forgot about it because I don't play bards,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I was like, wait, hold on, this actually works very well.
And you know what? Lord doesn't work because she is not a writer that is focused on the past. When she was
Exactly.
writing, it was in the present tense. It was
Mm,
a message, it was a letter, and it was a poem. And
yep,
poetry is never about what's come before, it's about what you're feeling in that moment, what you're
exactly.
trying to express to the world. And that to me immediately read, there's no way lore fits into this. It's got to be eloquence. It's how well can you deliver that message?
Yeah, that was a lot of where a lot of my issue with lore came from. I was like,
Yeah.
she's not that focused on the past, like,
She's
because
not.
I knew I wanted her to be a bard just because it just like set,
It
like it
tracks.
just set there for me. I was like, she's a bard, like that's
Yeah.
it. Like cleric's a good choice. No, I'm not trying to dig you. This
No,
sounds so shitty.
You're totally fine. Yeah, that's the thing is originally I was gonna go full bard, but I
Yeah.
think the research cracked me open a little bit and
Oh,
said,
for sure.
well, there's so much history to it if you take it from the second she entered into that office and then to the coup itself. And I was like, well, rather than being boring, well, not boring, sorry, rather than being
Fuck you.
double speak and both of us coming here with a full 10 bard, right?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'll break this down and tell a story there.
No, it's you told it so like well within those like chunks of it. It works fucking perfectly. I love
It's
the
so
multi-class.
does yours because you took so many pieces of who she is and managed to make it somehow a gameplay feature, which is incredible that you can play the abstract concept of religious doubt as a fucking feature you use once a day. That's incredible.
Unfailing Inspiration. It's so stupid. I love RPGs so fucking
Yeah,
much.
it's incredible.
Yeah, so that's her like dope shit that she gets for being full eloquence. And then spell, I can't tell you how long I labored over this spell list. I was like hemming and hawing about this spell list at work today. The kids I nanny were asleep, and I was flipping feverishly through like 3 D&D books, like, what the fuck spells does she have? Okay. So because she's 10 bard, she also gets, come on, take me to the top now, friend. Come on, friend.
Does
Let's
she
go.
still get the 2 spells that she can pick from any list?
Magic secrets.
Yeah,
Yep.
magic secrets.
So I did pull from cleric lists for those 2. And those it could be a cantrip or a spell. And for this I pulled Word of Radiance because obviously. And ceremony because obviously.
Yeah, ceremony, yeah.
I had the idea that eventually she'd get Spirit Guardians because I think at 14 you get another 2. So Spirit Guardians is in there, and then Oh man, I had another one that I wanted to throw in there from the Cleric
Spirit
list. I can't
Guardians
remember
would
what it
be
is.
just perfect for her too, because the
Right.
idea of
Like just little like moon drops.
yeah, representations of Inanna, little tiaraed women appearing
Yes.
around her, shielding her. I mean, it's
Ripping into
perfect for
things.
the coup too, because that's
Yeah.
it's my favorite cleric spell in existence, because everyone doubts the fucking thing. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so it's a little shield you run into.
Spirit Guardians is badass as hell.
The second that you walk into that thing or start your damn turn on it, you're immediately taking what is like 3d8 at the base.
3d8, yeah. And then and your speed is halved. And your speed is halved. Like
yeah.
I fucking love. I love Spirit Guardians. I also don't play clerics that often, but I love Spirit Guardians.
Yeah. Clerics are fun. Clerics are a lot of fun.
They're so good. I need to play another cleric.
And you're starting to see the beauty that is Magic Secrets with Bard. Like okay.
You can just dip in.
Yeah, you can. Boop. Okay, we don't have someone to bring us back to life. All right, revivifies mine now. Yeah, yeah, I can take anything.
So I did Word of Radiance for cantrips, Vicious Mockery because fuck a coup, and I feel like she gave that dude so much shit afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's the diss track right there. Yeah, 100%.
I also gave her Friends.
Yeah.
And then this is me editorializing a little bit and adding putting her very full bard.
Okay.
And I put Dancing Lights and Thunderclap because I thought like the idea of her kind of holding service or whatever and talking about Inanna and having that ability to like cast out these lights and these sounds and just I realize Prestidigitation might have done something like that too, or I guess it's Thaumaturgy, not Prestidigitation.
But you know
would have done that too, but I like
Thunderclap does it with a physical ramification that I think is way more Inanna than Thaumaturgy or Minor Illusion or anything like that could be. And I just imagine, like she references in her poems, Inanna is this wild, powerful cow that she speaks over like 1,000 different times about her being this powerful cow, this oxen, right? Mm-hmm. I love the idea of the Thunderclap being, Enheduanna, bringing her hands together and this big spectral cow climbs out and claps out in front of her. Yeah.
I got Ceremony, Comprehend Languages, Heroism, Illusory Script. We hit a lot of the same ones. And then I also gave her Healing Word because healing a nation, healing a empire.
She mends it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I took Skywrite. Oops. Ugh, sorry. And then I took Skywrite, Shatter, Phantasmal Force, and Enthrall for level 2.
Wow. Oh,
because she gets 14 fucking spells also.
Yeah, she gets a million.
Bards are stupid.
Yeah.
But the idea of like Skywrite and being able to like spread the message far
across
and wide,
a people
super easily. Yeah. And that in itself makes it more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give her a little bit of fighting power with Shatter because I think Shatter's cool. I never use it, but I like Shatter a lot.
Well, Shatter's such a great one too because it's vocal, and so her words are literally, breaking minds and creating noise.
She
and
go full like Black Canary screech.
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously she wouldn't, but like psionic. Anyway,
I'm right there with you.
Phantasmal Force for the same reasons as Dancing Lights and Thunderclap. Just the idea of like enthralling someone with. I mean, also enthrall, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For 3, I took Clairvoyance and Bestow Curse because fuck a coup. And she would rail that guy.
Yeah.
In not a fun way. And Clairvoyance because I feel like that would be like she would just be like, this is a gift from Inanna. This is, I have this forethought, I have this ability. Yeah. It fits.
I mean, that was
4. I took Polymorph because Polymorph's good.
Yeah. Polymorph's great for her.
That was the one that I was like, this is my one that's like not super character driven. This is just Polymorph's good and we need it.
Yeah. But you know what? It sort of is character driven because so much of her imagery in those poems I was looking through is the animals that embody Inanna. And I would love to see like all the different interpretations from the poem be the only forms she uses in Polymorph. Would be really cool. And
yeah, that'd be dope as hell.
Part of the reason why I went into Cleric, Bard, Cleric and Paladin is I like the idea of eventually she would have the ability to do divine intervention, which goes along with clairvoyancy, I think. Because the idea of her speaking directly to Inanna felt so right for her.
And like commune too.
Yes, commune and augury, all those moments where she can sit and speak with her. Oh,
yes,
it was beautiful.
Amazing. Oh man, I love that. Yeah. And then for 5th level, I took way more 5th levels than I should, but like this doesn't fucking matter because it's not actually going to be played.
Yeah.
Unless you want to play it, you can totally play Enheduanna because I'm hoping to put these on the website very soon.
Totally.
But I took Legend Lore because, of course, Scrying and Raised Dead.
Very good. Okay, Raised Dead. Yeah. That's an interesting one.
Oh. Yeah, that was another less character driven and more like utility driven one.
Right.
Just because I feel like I got caught up in like the like halfway point of like I want to make everything full character, but also I want to give her like utility and I want her to be like strong support, but also like not completely help. I was like teetering back and forth on this really terrible seesaw that I don't think I quite like figured out how to like stand in the middle of.
That's how I felt too, is like,
but also like Raised Dead could be like raised.
Could be raised what? Finish your sentence.
Raise the fuck you. Raise the like, how do I want to say this? Like the kind of like raise the embers of where they came from almost, and like towards where they're going, like raising the dead from like, here's where we were and this sucked and this war was shit, but we're moving on to something better.
Right. It's sort of like bringing back the ancestral line of it and giving it new purpose. Like the things we left behind really can do something for us. I like that.
Yeah. But also I want her to be useful in a party situation.
I was stuck too of like, because I know that this was our first time taking a crack at this. So I wasn't sure what either of us wanted to really bring to the table. So I was like, well, am I building someone I would play at the table, or am I building something that was unique to her? But I think part of the fun is, you know, in future episodes, us deciding if that's going to be the focus this week is, you know, how can you make the most accessible, table-friendly not Thomas Jefferson. That's a terrible explanation. I don't want to do Thomas
We're not talking about motherfucking Thomas Jefferson. He can go to hell.
Konstantin Stanislavski, as you can.
That one, yes. If you want to talk about Stanislavski, I'm here for it.
Bring me on any week and I'll talk. Stanislavski's my boy.
Hell yeah. We'll go triple nerd. We'll go history, we'll go theater nerd, and we'll go D&D nerd.
It'll be terrible. It'll be unlistenable, but damn, we'll do it.
You and me with Stanislavski would be hell for anyone else.
Here's the thing. We can do that episode with like extra tie-on. So we'll do it like hard mode. No Bard. Bard is out of the question.
Bard is out of the question.
You can't even touch it. You got to make Stanislavski, but he cannot have the actor feat. Cannot be a bard.
Okay, I think I could actually build that. I'm already building it in my head.
There you go. Even harder, you have to dump charisma and find a good reason why.
Yes.
This is shit we got to do like
I'm here
every
for these
week.
rules.
Yeah, we got to come up with the rules, and we got to
set up the norm first before we start breaking all our own.
I'm sorry. I'm playing in episode 15 right now. You know how I operate.
No, it's good. Oh man. Yeah, and then all of her equipment's kind of basic. I didn't go the route of like pumping her up. I kind of went the like route of like basic. Like this is nothing crazy, but also like kind of cool shit. So she has a sickle because it fits the time period better than most of the weapons would. And a dagger because of course she has a dagger because everyone has a dagger in D&D for no reason. Leather armor. She's real easy to hit. Her AC is fucking 11. She's
mine is 11
support.
too.
She's backline.
We're on the same.
You have a paladin in there. How do you have mithril?
Okay, all right. Let me put it on right now. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. It's a 12.
Okay.
It's because Dex was her dump. So
you dumped her.
She loses out on all that, and it's a mithril chain shirt, so it still goes off your dexterity for armor class. So I'm fucked there.
That's fair.
I promise I will revamp Enheduanna with we'll do Enheduanna
Enheduanna 2.0.
Yeah, Enheduanna 2.0 with like fully fixed stats, I promise. Make her a real paladin.
Make her a real boy. I'm a real boy. That was terrible. And then she has instruments, which is lyre, drum, and flute, because those all fit the time period.
Because you gotta take them.
Yeah. And I gave her a drum because I think that fits with Inanna more than flute and lyre do, really.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And that's my build for her.
Yeah.
I low-key want to play her because I've never played a bard before.
Right.
I've been building one like in the back of my head, but nothing, like I haven't actually like put him down on paper. But
you know what? Bard gets such a bad rap because it is instantly what everyone thinks of when you think of like the D&D memes or the like I'm gonna fuck a dragon character.
Horny bard.
And the thing about Bard is that's fun, and I've played a few of those characters in my day of like I'm just gonna be this carefree, non-committal character that's not really attached to anything. But in the same breath, when you step out of that box of I am a dandelion from Witcher, I am a guy in big theater tights playing a violin, and that's my whole personality. You have moments like Enheduanna where you can create honest to God, fully developed people that have almost nothing to do with that trope of I'm a wandering musician for gold or anything like that. I think that's where you'd have the most fun playing one.
Yeah.
Because once you found something that didn't fit into the mold of everyone else's, you'd knock it out of the park. I know.
Ugh. Thanks, bud. Yeah, at some point I'll play a bard.
At some point, next one shot, I get to pick your subclass, and
that would be fun.
You
just
get to
all
pick
of us
mine.
Picking for everyone. That'd be kind of dope.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So that is our lady Enheduanna. She's incredible. She's super fascinating. I barely knew about her before I did this, and I'm so happy that I know so much more about her. So thank you for joining us on this wild ass adventure into 4,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Man,
it's so good because now everyone who comes through and watches the VOD or is here when this posts, they're gonna know as much as we did and come out the other side, knowing this beautiful new person that existed so much longer before us, but and have this cool way of interacting with her and having this piece of paper that could, in the smallest way possible, let me affirm that what you and I are doing, it's not going to shake the earth or anything, but this is a moment that you and I are going to share, and we're going to remember for the rest of our life of sitting down and learning about this person together. I think it's really cute.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And just having her like out in the world a little bit more is important, because
even if it's just us.
Yeah. Even if it's just you and me knowing about it, like things would have been so different in the world, if maybe she hadn't been who she was.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like about history, because if one person wasn't who they were, then
it wouldn't work.
Who the fuck knows what would have changed.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. I'll be back in about 2 weeks to talk about someone new. I may tell you who, I may not.
Ooh.
There's lots of options. Please follow us on social media, at Mayday Roleplay on Twitter, at Mayday RP on Instagram. All of our episodes for Arc 1 of our Delta Green podcast, Doomed to Repeat, are out now on wherever you find podcasts, really.
Yeah.
What else? We'll be coming out with a D&D podcast very soon, led by our wonderful, lovely, fantastic Dungeon Master Eli this time. It was a trip, and we're in the middle of editing right now, and it's beautiful.
It's so
I'm very excited to share it.
If you guys
keep an eye here for.
We have on Tuesday we have Iron Swarm streaming for us, so tune in every Tuesday.
Well, they stream before us. They go at 4. We're going at 7.
Whenever those
you can
losers
go back and
do
see
it. Yeah, show up for them.
We're those losers, motherfucker.
Very true. And then on Fridays, we'll do either one shot or a debrief streaming through this channel. That's also when we post on podcast. Also, if you guys have a suggestion of who Leg should do next, hit Leg up. Our socials are all over the place.
Yeah, hit us with those people that you want to hear about, people you want us to build. I'm like I said, I'm trying to stay to more like unknown folks, but if there's someone like big that you're like, I want this and it's cool and it's a big one, we'll fucking do I make the rules for some reason. I make the rules here on this particular experience. So who knows? Maybe we'll see what happens. I have a huge long list, but it's pretty malleable. So yeah, let me know who you guys are looking for, who you're thinking we should check out. I'm always excited to learn new things, and I hope you are too, because that's all we have in this life. Thank you, Caleb, for being here with me, buddy. Thank you, Aaron, for dealing with all of this technology bullshit. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Goodbye.
Bye, y'all. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Perfect. Nice.